Okay, so this is how the barn looks. And here's a look at the baby barn from the other direction, and you can see that I have a man door right here. And this is a heavy-duty steel entryway door. Don't need something that robust, but it's what I got at a yard sale for like $15 or $20, never installed. I've run some electricity to the building. Okay, so let's let the girls out for the morning. Hello. 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 There they go. Okay folks, so listen, I'm going to be talking to you about my chicken coop. Now, I've got another video that shows how I rebuilt this steel baby barn. It was pretty corroded at the bottom. I chopped it all up, put it back together, and now it's a very robust structure, and that's what you want for chickens, because at nighttime the predators are pretty wild, like raccoons especially. They're so strong, they can tear through plywood and things like that. Chew through it anyway, and also rodents can get in here, and so I wanted this completely impermeable structure. We'll see over time, but it's been a few months and I haven't had any problems. The biggest problem is remembering to shut the door at night, so as long as I do that, I think I'll be fine for predators. So what I have here is this 6x12 baby barn, and then I put a divider up in the middle of it. Now in the wintertime, I'm going to have this panel here. It's got a couple hooks on it. That's so that I can lift the panel out from the bottom and take it out of here. Behind that is a little tiny interior door to get you into the other room, which is the storage room. In the summer, I won't have that panel there, but in the winter, I want it there for insulation. So I took actually insulated garage door panels and took a circular saw with a carbide bit and cut them to length and cut out for windows and door openings and things like that, because this building is just a steel walled building with no insulation until I've added these insulated garage door panels. The beauty of using them is there's insulation inside of them, so they're R12 to R16 depending on what they're filled with, but the chickens can't get at the insulation. If you just took regular sheets of insulating board and tacked it on the wall, you'd have to cover it with plywood, and there's quite an expense in both the insulation and on the plywood and on the labor. So in this case, all I had to do was cut the ceiling to the right length. This is also a garage door panel. Have someone hold it there, and then I measured how long the wall should be, and I just folded the wall in. So there's a friction fit between the wall and the ceiling, and it holds everything together. So there's no attachment to the exterior wall. Now, once I got and so I could remove these at some point if I want to. Once I got the insulating panels in place, I just caulked in between them for air, turnover reduction and so on. But also it just sort of causes the whole thing to be a rigid structure. These aren't going to fall. So that's how I got the insulated walls set up. And I have a window. This goes to the storage room, but there's also a window in the storage room. So there is some light from here. I do have an exterior window. I'd say that the windows are not overly big in this coop. If I had my choice, I would have probably, to redo it, I would go back and put a bigger window here. And so that's from the lighting perspective. Also, chickens need about 8 hours of darkness and 16 hours of daylight, I think, to generate an egg every day. I mean, plus minus, but I read that somewhere on the internet that that's what they like. So I've got this light on a timer, and what we found was one of the chickens wasn't laying until about 11 o'clock in the morning, and that's not really convenient because we wanted to get the eggs when we got up, not sometime later. Now, if we let the chickens out, they'd all run out. There'd be one missing egg in here, and then later that chicken would come back and lay it in the nesting boxes, which is pretty cool that it didn't just lay it out in the yard. But still, we want to control that and have this as efficient as possible. So I've put the light on a timer, and the timer comes on at 4 a.m. every day, and we get daylight until about 5:30 p.m. And so, that's more or less the right amount of light that they need. In the wintertime, that's our daylight. In the summer, of course, it goes till 10 p.m. So little LED light here. I'm not sure if you're supposed to have a special lighting spectrum, special light for a certain type of light, but this is just a $20 garage LED utility light. And so since it's LED, it takes very little power. And this timer, I set it up. It's got battery backup. So even if you lose power, I don't have to reset it. It's awesome. So you never worry about light again. When it comes to heating in the wintertime, I bought a Cozy Coop heater off of Amazon that's got a high and a low setting. I'm going to try it on the low setting, which I think is 100 watts, instead of the high setting, which is 200 watts. If it's not strong enough, I'll bump it up to the high setting. Now, I don't think that heater has any built-in thermostat, which is not great. I wish that it did. And so to prevent this from coming on all the time when it's too warm, you know, it doesn't need to be on, I have it on a thermostatically controlled outlet. Now this thermostatically controlled outlet, it's got actually two outlets. Outlet 1 feeds the heater, and I have a temperature sensor right here from that thermostatically controlled outlet. There's the temperature sensor. And so it determines when the heater should come on and off. To kind of retain some of the heat, and this is where my roosting bars are, I'm actually going to take a curtain and put it over top of here at some point to just retain a little bit of the heat under that structure. And hopefully it will be warm in there, but it's not, you know, the heater won't work as hard to bring the temperature up inside. So you don't want to have your temperature sensor really close to the heater, otherwise the heater will just be cutting on and off and on and off and on and off so many times. So I think what I may actually do is put like a concrete block like this, one of these blocks, lean it up against the heater, partly anyway, so that the heater will heat the block, and it'll take quite a long time to bring the block up to temperature, but once it's up to temperature, it stays quite a long time. And so I'm hoping to do that so that there just reduces the on-off cycles for the heater and also for this thermostatically controlled outlet. So that's the outlet number 1. So I had this tray of water and I wanted to insulate it, get a heater in it, get a sensor in it, and make it so that the chickens can still get to it and keep the poop out of it. And this is the small insulated cooler that I kind of took and cut down to size to fit the water dish. So what I ended up doing was I built this box out of plywood. You see the sensor wire right there, and it goes underneath the tray, and it's underneath the tray, and I've got it just underneath that tuck tape, that red tuck tape. That'll keep the sensor in place always. And the heater is inside the tray, and it's suction cupped to where it is right there. The chickens can't get at the heater. So this is a submersible heater. You've got to make sure if you're going to do this, you get an aquarium heater that is submersible, because not all of them are. And then of course the cord comes up, and there the black cord, and disappears. And so I've got this cover on, and if I just left it like that, the chickens could peck at all this styrofoam and make an awful mess. So I built this, as I say, this plywood box. Now, to make it easy for the chickens, I've got the water just, the level is just at the surface, the top of this right here. So when I close this lid, they're not going to have to duck their head down too far. I've seen them do it further distances than this when drinking out of the pond in my yard. So the question will be, do they learn that that's where the water is? And I'm just going to leave this in place, and, you know, with any luck, I'll notice that the water level's going down. With everything automated as far as heating of the air and heating of the water, that will greatly reduce the amount of maintenance required this winter. You know, every couple of days we'll bring down maybe 1 liter or 2 liters or whatever they drink, just to top that up. I don't intend to ever really change that unless there's debris that falls in there. But given this little lip here, I'm hoping there just won't be that much debris that gets in there, but I guess we'll find out. When it comes to the basically the non-weather components of the structure, you need nesting boxes for chickens. I have 3 there. It turns out 2 of them sleep together in the big box, and they lay eggs in one of the other 2. And it's always the way. I don't know why, but that's what they do. And another 2 chickens either sleep on the roosting bars or up on top of here. Most chicken coops would have this in reverse. The roosting bars would be on top, and the egg, the nesting boxes would be on bottom. I don't know why I did it this way. I just did. The other thing I point out here is this is a little ladder that they use to hop up there. I don't know if they need it. They can probably flap a little bit, but I do trim their one wing to prevent them from flying out of the yard over the fence. So I thought, just, you know, might as well give them a little ladder. And for ease of maintenance and so on, This ladder just lifts off like that, and you can take it out and work underneath there without getting all twisted up. Last thing is the food. So I bought this feeder, used, 25 bucks secondhand. Works great. Loaded up with like 40 pounds of food. For 4 chickens, you're good for 2 weeks. So look, that gives you an overview of all the stuff I've done to fancy up the chicken coop. Oh, one last thing, ventilation. So I've heard that chickens can handle cold, no problem, but they can't handle zero ventilation because the ammonia and other stuff that's in their poop as it breaks down and decomposes can kill them. There's certain types of gases that are released, and if you have an airtight chicken coop, it can kill your chickens. I only have 4 chickens in here, and we actually remove the poop every couple of days. For now, anyway, we kind of scoop it out into a bucket, and so I could see if you were running the deep litter method and you had 6 inches or a foot of chips and poop in here, and it was hot, the decomposition would be pretty rapid, and the off gases would be pretty significant. In this case, though, it's wintertime. There's not going to be a lot of gas given off, I don't think. And also, despite what it might look like with sealant between the panels and insulated panels and all that stuff and thermal pane windows and so on, there are lots of gaps that are going to allow airflow to go through here. So I don't at all predict an issue with having too much gas build up and harming the chickens. Okay, look, that's all I got to highlight for you about the chicken coop. And so far, we've had, oh, they're gone. But anyway, the 2 white ones were adults when we got them. They've laid an egg every single day, like not missed a day for 3 months. And the 2 black ones, when we got them, they were only 6 weeks old and they haven't started to lay yet. Even though they're bigger than the white ones, they still haven't started to lay. So, yeah, pretty excited when those other black ones start to lay. That'll be good. I do have this barn segregated so that I could put, say, chicks on the other side if I wanted to raise meat kings in the spring, and you don't want to have your big chickens and your little chickens together, but you want to have them close by so that they can kind of get to know each other. When I do that, I'll open this window so that they can hear each other and, you know, get used to, I don't know, all the little chicken peep peeps that they do. And so when the meat kings get large enough, you know, I could integrate them with the big chickens. Until then, that's just used as a storage room. And I can tell you, it is wonderful to have this stuff away from your house. You don't need to keep feed in your house. You don't want to be attracting rodents. Final thing I'll talk about is the wood chips. I don't have a lot down right now. I'll be adding more as the temperature gets colder. And I assume the chickens will kind of stir around and nest and make a little house, make a little depression in there. One of the problems I had was I had this metal door fit so tightly that if there are any like wood chips and stuff in the door frame, the door won't shut easy. Anyway, to prevent the chips from going out, just took a piece of angle iron and screwed it to the door frame, and now it's got this lip. So there's a couple inch barrier there. And when the door is shut, it's right up against this. So even if a chicken is inside and they spray a bunch of chips towards that angle iron, there really shouldn't be much that falls out. Just a latch that I put on and a steel door. Right now I'm using this second side of the building simply for storage. And I've got my feed in a steel garbage can, and I have wood chips. This is about 2/3 of the space. I put the interior wall in this position, so the storage room is 2/3 and the chicken area for the egg layers is 1/3, simply because I don't think they need a pile of space. And secondly, in the winter time, the smaller the spaces where the chickens are, the easier it is to heat. Even on this side where the chickens are not yet, I still have hardware cloth over the whole roof. Before I set the roof down on these walls, I ran the hardware cloth right out, so basically the weight of the roof is on the hardware cloth. This is an interior door, and I'll just show you. You can open it, and of course for the winter I've put yet another garage door panel right there just for improved insulation. So in the summer you can walk right through, but in the winter I have that garage door panel just resting there. I can move it from the other side without any trouble. All right, look, that's all I've got for you for how to raise chickens. It's been pretty easy, and yeah, good luck with your do-it-yourself project. And I highly recommend anybody who's interested, especially with kids, take the plunge and get a couple chickens and learn about it. It's a great hobby. So if you like my videos, please subscribe and have yourself a great day. Good luck with your do-it-yourself.